If you want these horror stories to continue, please subscribe now. And don't forget to like. After my mother died, the house stopped feeling like a home. It became a structure filled with silence, each room holding memories that felt too heavy to touch. My father rarely spoke. He avoided her room, avoided her name. When Margaret arrived, she didn't knock. She simply stood in the doorway with a calm smile, as if she had always belonged there. The air changed the moment she stepped inside. It felt tighter, warmer, like the house had inhaled and decided not to exhale. Margaret learned everything about the house faster than anyone should. She knew which floorboard creaked, which door stuck, which window rattled during storms. She never asked questions. She already knew the answers. When she looked at family photos, she paused at my mother's face longer than necessary, her fingers tracing the frame slowly, almost lovingly. Her kindness was precise, calculated. She never raised her voice, never showed anger. Instead, she corrected things gently, too gently. "That's not where plates go," she would say, even though they had always been there. Slowly, objects moved. Furniture shifted. The house rearranged itself around her preferences, around her presence. At night, I heard movement, not footsteps. Sliding sounds, like fabric dragging across walls. When I opened my door, the hallway was empty, but colder than the rest of the house. Margaret was always awake in the kitchen, sitting perfectly still, staring into nothing. She never blinked when I spoke to her. She forbade mirrors in my room, said they attracted attention, said reflections could be borrowed. One morning, I found my covered mirror uncovered. My reflection blinked a second after I did. When I turned away, I heard a soft laugh from behind me. Margaret's voice. Calm, pleased. My father began forgetting things, small things. At first, birthdays, stories, then bigger things. He once asked me who I was. Margaret answered for him. "Your child," she said, placing her hand on his shoulder. He nodded, relieved, as if memory itself had been returned to him. I discovered the basement door unlocked one night. Inside were boxes filled with journals, all written in the same handwriting, different dates, different women, all describing the same house, the same man, the same ending. Each final page ended with the same sentence. "She stays?" When I confronted Margaret, she didn't react. She only asked if I felt safe. The walls creaked softly, responding to her voice. Shadows bent toward her feet. She explained gently that homes need guardians, that families need continuity, that loss must be corrected. That night, she stood in my doorway again. This time, she stepped inside. Her shadow stretched across the ceiling, wrong in shape and length. "You can leave," she said kindly, "but the house will remember you." The walls whispered my name in voices that weren't hers. I left before dawn. Years passed. I never returned. But sometimes, in quiet rooms, I feel that same pressure in the air, as if walls are leaning closer, as if somewhere Margaret is still smiling, waiting for the house to need me again. Leaving the town did not bring relief. The farther I went, the heavier my thoughts became, as if distance strengthened whatever Margaret had placed inside me. In unfamiliar houses, I woke up knowing the layout instantly. I knew where doors would creak, which rooms felt wrong. The knowledge scared me more than memories. People around me began changing subtly. Friends forgot details about themselves. Neighbors repeated phrases I never taught them. Once, a woman asked me if I preferred quiet walls or listening walls. I did not answer. That night, I dreamed of Margaret standing behind me, correcting the shape of my shadow. I tried to destroy the journals I stole from the basement. Fire refused to consume them. Water left the ink untouched. The pages felt warm, almost alive, humming faintly when held. One journal slowly added new lines on its own, lines describing me. I realized the truth too late. The house never needed Margaret. Margaret needed the house. And now the house needed a replacement. Every home I stayed in felt temporary, impatient, as if waiting to become something else. Walls leaned inward. Doors locked themselves gently. My father called one night. His voice sounded distant, empty. He asked if I was happy where I lived. Before I could answer, Margaret's voice joined the call. She said the house missed its balance, said rooms felt hollow without me. The call ended by itself. I returned to the town unwillingly, drawn by something stronger than fear. The house stood unchanged, cleaner, calmer. When I stepped inside, the air relaxed. The walls stopped whispering. Margaret greeted me like a guest who had never left. She showed me rooms I didn't remember. New rooms, rooms that felt old. Each carried traces of people who once stayed, once resisted, once became quiet. Margaret explained patiently that homes remember love, fear, obedience, and reshape themselves accordingly. My father was gone, not dead, just absent. Margaret said he had fulfilled his purpose. The house no longer needed him. She handed me the house keys. They were warm, heavy, familiar in my hand. That night I slept in my old room. The mirror was uncovered. My reflection didn't move at all. It watched me breathe. When I closed my eyes, I felt the house settle around me, satisfied. In the morning, Margaret was gone. Her presence lingered only as instructions in my thoughts. Where to place furniture, how to correct behavior, how to maintain balance. When someone knocks now, I open the door calmly and smile, just as she once did. The house is quiet now. It listens, but it no longer asks questions. I keep the rooms balanced, the walls calm, the doors obedient. Sometimes, late at night, I hear footsteps that aren't mine, and I know the house is choosing again. The end